Hey guys, I'd like to welcome you to the Kortex Media Podcast, where we navigate the fast-paced world of automotive and more. I'm your host, Corson Schmidt. Joining me today is Meg Jones from Ace Auto Sales. Meg is a marketing powerhouse and second-generation car dealer with over 17 years of experience in marketing and a decade at helm of Ace Auto Sales in Fyffe, Alabama. With a master's degree in business and marketing education, Meg has grown her dealership from humble beginnings into award-winning businesses, recently earning the title Best of DeKalb. Her expertise doesn't stop at her own lot. Meg is also the founder of an elite marketing group where she helps other dealers and small businesses supercharge their digital presence and drive real results. Meg's leadership and innovative approach have earned her features in Used Car Dealer magazine, appearances at Nydia TV, and speaking engagements at major industry events across the country. She also championing the White Hat Way initiative to promote trust and transparency in auto sales. Known for her passion, integrity, and relentless drive, Meg Jones is redefining what it means to succeed in the automotive industry and inspiring others to do the same. It's great to have you on, Meg.
Awesome. Thank you. Great to be here.
No worries. So we'll dive into your background. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey into the automotive world, what inspired you to start Ace Auto Sales with your husband, and just a little bit of the background?
Sure. Well, I first started in sales and marketing right out of college. I was recruited with some companies, and I climbed that corporate ladder, and then we had our first child, and I was gone, flying all over the place, doing pharmaceutical sales and some other marketing ventures. And, that's just not the ideal lifestyle, having a family. And so I started thinking, what could I do to have the same schedule of my kids? And so that's where I got an add-on to my bachelor's degree, my master's with education, so that I could teach what I was doing, the business, the entrepreneurship at a secondary level. And so I started teaching, but depending on where you're from, teachers don't make at all, hardly anything. So just to be completely honest, we were used to this lifestyle of sales and marketing and pharmaceutical sales. And so we had to do something to supplement that income. And so my dad, being in the car business forever, and in and out, running his own places, being wholesalers, all kinds of stuff. He said, why don't you sell a few cars on the side with me? And so we quickly thought, why not? And so my dad started taking my husband to the car auction, and he would buy the cars, and then I would market them alongside of us both teaching. And so after we sold those first couple of cars, we were hooked. My family jokes and says that our DNA spells cars. And so we got hooked, and it used to be kind of just like a park and sell. I would market all over Alabama. We would deliver the cars on the weekends or after school, and around us coaching too. And so that blossomed, that kept growing, and it's like, well, we could do more, we could ramp this up. And so a few years in, we had employees, and then 5 more years in, it's like, whoa, we need a new office, we need a new car lot, we've got more cars than we can handle. And again, we are, just to give you a little insight, we are in a one red light town. There isn't another red light for 10 or 15 miles north, or 10 or 15 miles south. And it's even further if you go east and west. So we were having to utilize marketing to get customers, to get that attraction, or to advertise the cars that we had for the delivery. About year 3 or 4 though, we were having enough foot traffic that we didn't have to deliver no more. And so we quit doing that, and they come to us, but we were growing. We got a new office, got a new car lot. We are actually about to build another office because we have outgrown this one. We have about 21 employees between a few of our businesses and the car lot. So that's kind of been our journey. We keep growing. We've serviced over, I'd say probably 4,000 customers at this point in the last 10 years now. And so it's been such a blessing. My husband retired from teaching after 10 years just so that he got that retirement plan there, and he was so close to anyways.
Yeah.
And then I had our second child, and I had 8 years in teaching, and I pulled out of teaching to do this full time, and I wanted to do my marketing more because so many dealers were like, how are y'all selling that many cars in a one red light town? And so I just found myself with such a passion for teaching already anyways, sharing the marketing, sharing what they should be doing organically and paid ads, and teaching them already. And I was like, this could be a business by itself. And so it has been a business alongside of Ace Auto Sales. So that's kind of, like I said, that's kind of the background. I know that was kind of long, but that's where we're at. And so the car dealership has been such a blessing. We've actually branched off from that with our awesome employees. We definitely couldn't do it with our employees. But we have created a property management company now for the last few years. We have a towing and salvage business. There's a spin-off of Ace Auto Sales because we were towing and hauling anyways and at these auctions. And so we've had a few spin-offs stemming from like Ace Auto Sales. So
that's super exciting. You guys have a lot of knowledge between you two, and I bet you your dad helped out on a lot of the knowledge from that as well.
He did.
And Elite Marketing Group, is that something that you recently got into, or is that something that you've had in your mind for quite some time?
Sure. I have, like I said, dealers talk, we go to conventions, and they're like, well, how are y'all selling so many cars in that one red light town? And so through all those questions and help and phone calls, and it's like, I really need to put this passion into profits, And so I really started putting more of a dollar sign on my services and consulting. And that way I wasn't wasting too much time, and I could talk to those that were really serious about growing their business. And so that has really took off the last 2 years. I feel like I've always done marketing to a certain extent. Actually, I've always done marketing for about 17 years, but as far as just dealer marketing, I've probably done it for like the last 5 years. But really spinning off, creating a business, making it legit, probably for like 2 years.
That's super exciting. That's awesome. And it's nice that it connects with the automotive industry with where you guys all started off.
Yes, for sure. There's so many cookie cutter programs. It's like, I'm an advertisement, let me try to do the dealerships. And they just don't know where we come from. They don't know our clients. They don't know that our clients, sometimes we take that last dollar that they have. So our marketing efforts have to be different than this, 2020 Lamborghini or, 2020 new Tundra. That's not the case for all of our type of buy here, pay here clients and stuff like that. So yeah.
That's exciting. So with everything going on, what do you guys do at Ace Auto Sales, and then what do you do with your other companies? Just so the audience can get an idea of kind of what you guys do. You kind of explained Ace Auto Sales, but just a little bit further in depth so the audience knows furthermore what you guys do in your companies.
So Ace Auto Sales is more of a buy here, pay here type dealership, which means that your customer doesn't have to have credit. They can come get a car if they have a job and they have a residency. It's pretty easy. However, we care more about the car than just the sale. We do make sure that they can afford that car. If their debt to income ratio is way too high, then we're probably not going to put them in a car. We're like, we really need to be more realistic. Is there something else that you can do, because I feel like payments are getting so high on cars and things like that. And we really offer a good car. So we don't offer probably the lowest payments, even close, because we do offer a really good car, and we feel like, that lasts longer, that lasts the note for our customers, where we feel like if we get a cheaper car, then they're either having to work on it, then they can't pay to have it worked on because that quality of customer, or we're having to work on it, and then they're not paying for it if it's not running, And so we have gotten away from just probably the cheapest car lineup. So there is several people that we do have to turn down as a car dealer, and that's hard because we have a lot of customers coming in. Just the last 2 weeks, I can think of 8 that we've turned down because their debt to income ratio is just so high. They only had $100 left a month after they added that car payment, and we just don't want to do someone that way. They may want that new shiny Infiniti that we have on the car lot, but it's like, we try to be realistic with them. While I know a lot of car dealers are like, they're adults, let them make that decision on their own. Get their down payment and go on. that's just not how we operate. And that's one reason too that I do the initiative with the White Hat Way, because that is something, we're not just dealers. These are people's livelihoods. Sometimes we take the last dollar they have in that down payment, to get them into that car, especially if they can afford it or if they're going through a tough time. And so, with the White Hat Way initiative too, it's just that you're working with a dealer that's going to make sure that you're in a good car. You're going to make sure you're on the road. And you can trust that dealer, that their word stands. A handshake is still a handshake, we like to say. And so that's kind of how we operate at Ace Auto Sales, as far as, getting approved, getting a customer in a car. They don't have to have credit. If they make awesome at their job, and they want an extremely high car payment, we've got some newer and nicer cars that maybe have 25,000 miles on it. But maybe their credit just stinks a little bit because they had some past medical bills or history. We can still get them in the car where somebody, maybe Ford, Chevy, couldn't have gotten them in a car. So we can still help them out. And so we have a bunch of different price ranges.
That's super exciting that you guys are actually looking out for the consumer, because that's the biggest thing. Like you said, a lot of dealers want to take that last dollar and they don't actually look at, is this person actually going to be able to afford what they're buying? So it's nice that you guys take that into account. And with the white, the white hat. Yeah. It's nice that you're actually working with other dealerships to get them the same interest for their customers.
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
So
some dealers don't care if they have to repo it in a few months. We want it to be a good relationship, because not all repos come back. We want it to be a lengthy relationship where they can get a car they trust and be a business that they can trust too.
For sure. And you guys offer service repair as well as the dealership?
We do. We actually have about a 99% penetration on our vehicle service contract, which is huge. We have had one customer not take it since February 1, only one, because we offer free towing if something happens with that and you're on the vehicle service contract. We offer a free rental if something happens. And let's be honest, cars are just unpredictable. We had a 2014 Chevy rollback that didn't even make it home. And it was brand new and had to have a new transmission. So, it's nothing that, Ace Auto Sales could have done differently for that truck. Obviously, we bought it from a dealer to be able to service it the whole time. And, I've even had cars that have stuff happen. Now, I don't feel like you can find every single little thing with 30,000 moving parts in a car. You just can't. So having that vehicle service contract just gives them a peace of mind too, knowing that even if something hiccups or happens, it's covered.
That's awesome. So with all your different ventures, how does your day-to-day look? Like, you have so much going on, balancing work, life, family. How does an entrepreneur like you succeed and put up with so much work day to day?
Sure. I keep an organized management system for each client. I keep for each business that we run. We have to-do list. Me and my husband's really big about texting our daily to-do list to each other to make sure we don't forget anything, and kind of also hold us accountable. We're such a good business partner. A lot of people is like, how do y'all work together every single day? We really have a lot of fun. We really love being with each other. I know a lot of people can't say that. I hate that for them, but we really do. We love it. We complement each other so well, I feel like. And that's one reason too we had to pull out of our teaching, because it was like we both needed to be here. Who's like, hey Meg, our software's not working, or hey Meg, what do I do on this deal? Help me, drum up these numbers or this trade in. And so it would be the same for him. I'd be like, hey Ron, what cars do I have coming down the pipeline? Because he does all of our buying. And then I do all of our HR, all of our employees, all that management, which we do a lot of other stuff. Don't get me wrong. I could stay here all day and tell you what else we do. But as far as those, he doesn't have a clue, what software we use as far as, outside our dealer management system and, those things. And I don't have a clue some of the auction softwares that he uses, And so we have a really good complementary aspect, I guess. So, just keeping those to-do lists, not letting anything fall through the cracks. I don't know how far you can see in my office, but I keep, running sticky notes, and sometimes those, so you can bump things up on the list. I'm all about tech, and I love digital so that I can have it on the go, but it's also nice to have a visual, because we're building 6 homes right now with our properties, and making sure that those are filled, applications are done, and, being a good delegator too, and knowing what your team can handle is huge, because you don't want too much on their plate that something's going to fall off. And so we always try to, when we're onboarding someone new, we always try to ask our employees, what is something you feel like you can take off your plate if you want one of these new things? And it gives them initiative and learning new things, almost like getting a new job and not getting a new job,
Yeah.
So they really usually like and are very like, hey, I want to learn about your property management company. So
For sure.
I've got a lady, she does my property management. She's doing my applications. She's requesting fees. But at the same time, it complements our customers on the car side. She always does the collection. She's requesting money anyways on that. It's just a different software. So it complements it really well. And then which we have so many pieces of pie that are amazing. It's just a lot of good teamwork and making sure you're delegating those tasks that can be, tasks that they can do. Sometimes there's tasks that me and my husband just have to do because it's a one-off type thing, and we have to keep those on our plate. And so sometimes we'll make a list like, hey, let's give this to our operations manager. She's kind of like a GM in training. She started as a receptionist 3 years ago with us, and she's worked her way up. She's done a collection,
That's
she's
awesome.
done sales, she's done everything. And so she heads up a lot for us. She is the reason we're able to take off on Fridays with our kids. And so that's something that, we couldn't do without our employees. Our receptionist, she takes all of our payments so the other girls can do their tasks, their collections and their sales and stuff like that. Sometimes we feel like, do we have too many staff? But then at the same time, I feel like they couldn't operate efficiently if we did lean our staff down, because my sales, I want them to be, I train them with marketing. I train them with organic stuff. I train them on what to do and what to post. And then I have virtual assistants too, that she can make some tasks for them. So she can delegate some stuff too, especially if that day's busy and she feels like, oh gosh, I didn't get to post today. I didn't get to make a video. Well, hey, it's okay. We've got these virtual assistants that Meg is over, Ashlyn's over. We can get some stuff out there to you, because it's so hard to do it all yourself. It's so
For
hard
sure.
to wear all the hats. I feel like when you have the right help, you make more money, and I really
sure.
do.
No, that's awesome. It sounds like you have a great team behind you, and that's like the backbone to an amazing company. Is
Yeah.
you need to have that team. You need to have that trust in your team as well, and especially with your team wanting to take on different ventures and try new things. And
Yeah.
you willing to teach them that's a huge step in the business as well, because a lot of people don't want to learn that new thing. They don't want to take on more than they have to.
You're
But
right.
it seems like you guys are treating your employees great, and they seem to enjoy it as well if they want to take on more jobs.
Yes, and we are definitely, being a smaller business, we don't have a lot of benefits, like health insurance and those different things. We've priced them, but on the marketplace it's cheaper. So, we don't really have those built in. So being able to be family first, I couldn't tell you how many employees have wanted to come back to us over the years that maybe have left for something that does have insurance or some other maybe benefits, and they've come back. I've got my sales lady right now. She worked with us a year at a different location. We used to have 2 car lots. And she's like, I would love to come back for you, even if I'm having to drive 45 minutes. And she's back in my sales, and doing amazing. And she was amazing before. But she was like, I just loved that. You guys were family first. If something happened to my kids, I didn't even have to think that, like, I'm going to get in trouble at work. I'm going to get points. I'm going to get wrote up. She's like, that's so much more to me than even my pay at where she was at, or even her benefits. So, and that's huge. Definitely huge, I feel like, to be able to say family first, because sometimes you're just a number at a business, or as soon as you're gone, you're replaced, and that makes it hard, on the employees to work somewhere like that. They're not cared for or appreciated or anything like that.
For sure. No, it's nice that you guys take the initiative on that and grow your team and help them gain the knowledge that you've built up over the years as well, especially your marketing team. Who is your biggest role model in your entrepreneurial journey?
Oh goodness, role model. I don't know if I have a direct, like, real person. Well, I guess they're a real person role model. But I love watching Grant Cardone and all of his ventures, and just knowing that, if you've got the right team in place, you can do anything.
Yeah.
And so I fall in between, Grant Cardone, and I do love, the saving and things, but I know that if you're in a car business, if you save, you're not making money. You've got to spend money, unfortunately, in the car business to make money. So that's something that I aspire about Grant Cardone, because he's not scared to spend the money. He knows that he's going to make it back or tenfold.
For sure. No, that's he's a great role model to a lot of people, and he's done some amazing things in his career, and he's definitely someone to follow. For sure. What major changes or trends have you seen in the car sales and marketing? Like, we'll start with car sales. What are the kind of major trends that you've been seeing that have been changing recently?
Sure. Car prices are going up like ever since COVID. They've been going up like crazy and not coming down. And I see that just influences car payments. So, our customers are having to fork out more money monthly for those car payments. I mean, I feel like some pay just as much in rent as they do for these cars now. So it's a balance of, what else can they give up to have a car and a house instead of having so much extra money now. So that's one reason why, too, we love our vehicle service contract, because we know those people don't have that extra money if they have a major instance, or need to do a transmission or anything like that. So I just feel like car prices in general are such a huge trend up. And then marketing, I feel like as much as ever, Meta is such a huge factor, as well as video advertising, TikTok. Like we have a package where if they do their Meta with us, they can get like TikTok or YouTube for free, because it's not as big of a winner just yet. But we love for our clients to get a taste of that and go ahead and be in that field and start building those social media trends. Because if you're not building those now, you're going to look like a new person to the business, and people a lot of times don't like that. They don't want to do business necessarily as much with new businesses because they don't know if they can trust you. And so they love established businesses. It's got good reviews and all those things. So going more towards the video side of marketing is really huge for the car industry. Especially people want to see it almost like a test drive before they come in. And so that's huge. And that's one reason why we offer that complimentary for some of our Meta packages that we do, just so they can get a taste of it, so that they can see how beneficial it can be for their business.
For sure. And that's just kind of how entrepreneurship and business growth as a whole and marketing is turning, is towards the online side of things. And if you're not posting, you're not building a brand, and if you're not building a brand, it's hard for people to find you. Even just looking in SEO, if you have an Instagram profile that has good following, people are going to trust you a lot more than, like you said, someone that is just new to post videos. Yes,
for sure. And kind of behind the scenes, I've got a company that is launching their AI side of SEO, but it's actually just Google My Business SEO. It is awesome. We have been testing my marketing company. My car dealership is #1 in so many cities. But what it is they're rebranding from where it was all manual. It costs a ton of money for them to boost your SEO on Google My Business manual. Well, they have implemented AI into the Google My Business and set up so many automations. They've made it affordable now for people to do that. And so they can get ranked, they can get the reviews disputed automatically. And that is huge. Because we may, repo from someone's sister's aunt, brother's baby daddy, and we get a nasty review just because they saw us pull out of the driveway with their baby daddy's car. And it's like, man, they were 3 months past due, and unfortunately you get that bad review. But this new system that they've got that I've been beta testing, they're about to launch it. It will dispute those reviews for you, and it tells you how it can dispute. So while they're disputing them, you can dispute them yourself too. And the more people dispute bad reviews, the more likely it is to come down. And so that's huge. Really, really good. It's called Profile Pro. They do have a Facebook started, but they're still building out the website for the logins and all the automations and stuff.
That's super cool.
It is awesome. It's Profile Pro. And I'm super excited for them to launch so that I can, send my customers there, even if they don't have the money to do all the ads. That's going to be more reasonable to do if they need a little boost on Google. So that is huge, huge, huge. It boosts their ranks. And so it helps them even do their reviews. It even helps ask for reviews. It helps post pictures. It even posts pictures back to Facebook and Instagram for them of the reviews. So it's cross-posting. There's like 12 different things. I don't even know them all.
That's awesome.
But like it has already been amazing. I think my marketing page grew 83% on Google the first week. So it went from page like 22 to number 1. And I was like, oh, that is just awesome.
That's super exciting.
So that's super awesome. And we see a lot of AI trends, obviously, right now. If you're not in AI, you're behind. So
for sure. And what are some of the changes that you're seeing with AI? You kind of touched on one there, but it's something that is revolutionary in entrepreneurship and business as a whole. What are some of the big changes that you've seen help out your companies quite a bit that you've been using?
Yeah. So you can train the AI to speak like your company. So, upload some sample posts, some sample messages, some sample responses. And if you have a situation at your dealership, say you've got a customer that is 20 days past due, you could type in ChatGPT that's like, hey, I need a nice but firm message for John Smith that's 20 days past due. He owes $540. Help me write a text. And so you can have it write you a quick text, and you can even tell it, I need it to be at 250 characters or whatever, instead of you sitting there backspacing, let me take out this and, let me make an ampersand, let me take out this word the, let me take out this. It allows your employees to work smarter instead of so much harder. I don't think it will ever take anyone's job per se. I really don't. I just think it will enhance jobs. And if you don't let your people use it, I encourage anyone that would be listening to your podcast to think of it like this, okay? Hundreds of years ago, when they had new sewing machines, what the sewing machines used to do is the same thing that we used to do by hand, right? And so now they have new sewing machines that everybody can do their jobs 20 times faster. So now the company can do more business, can do more things, can concentrate other places. It never replaced anyone's job. It just enhanced their job. It enhanced their positions. They were able to produce more faster. They were able to get more out for those companies. They might have still had to sew a button on by hand every once in a while, And I look at AI a lot like those sewing machines, where if you refuse to use those sewing machines, all these other businesses are going to outrun you. All your other employees, if you're an employee and refuse to use it, those other employees are going to outrun you. Use it as a tool instead of an obstacle. And so I like that. That's definitely something, I recommend for businesses to use it. And we don't only use it for messaging. We also use it for if say someone's sick or they don't like their voice or don't want to, you can go and have it talk for you. Say, I need a 30-second commercial overview of this Nissan Armada. Make sure to highlight on the backup camera, the DVD players, the captions chairs that everybody loves, and it has black leather. You can give it some highlights, or you can just put in the VIN and it'll do some searching. But that way it highlights on what you want it to, and it will spit out, that exact verbiage and everything. So if you've took the video, you could set your phone down here beside your computer and hit voiceover, let your computer, like say we're on, play, and you hit record, and it will start talking, and then you never had to use your voice, because a lot of people don't like to use their voice. And so that's another way. I have some freebies linked on my website right now. I just have a little link tree, but it's elitemarketing.group. And so I've got a lot of freebies over the years that I throw in there to help some dealers.
Awesome.
I am switching out my website as well. So if you go to just HTTPS, like the security handle, and then elitemarketing.group, you'll find those. And I've got probably 20 different links of some tools and stuff that we use.
Cool. Yeah, AI is it's something that you need to get your hands on now, because if you don't, you're already behind. Like there's companies that have already implemented like crazy, and it's something, like you said, I agree with you 100% that it's going to enhance work, not take jobs away. So that's It is. I'm excited to learn even more. Instead of we're sitting here talking, tell it what I want it to say, and make that video of me talking. Yeah,
So
for sure.
I need to dig
And
into that.
and it grows every single day, which is the
Oh, it
best
is.
thing. Like
It's impressive.
it's super impressive. It's super cool.
Yes.
Um, how do you maintain strong customer relationships and positive reviews, especially in a super small town, one red light setting?
Yeah. Well, one thing, we try to always get the reviews early. So I train my sales staff and I also train anyone that I'm doing their marketing too, because again, I encompass a lot when I'm doing the marketing. I train my sales staff that once they're done with their paperwork and they're walked over the copy to make ads, I mean, sorry, not to make ads, to make copies of their contracts, that they go ahead and just do some small chit chat with them and like, hey, while you guys are sitting here, can I go ahead and get you guys to do a review? Good, bad, ugly, just so I know how I did, servicing you guys and finding you guys a solution. It gives me feedback, and again, it can be ugly, it can be bad. And it just kind of jokes with the customers, but also lets them know that we're looking for honest feedback.
Yeah.
And then so we ask for the review right there after the sale is done, because that customer's excited. They're getting a new car. You've helped them, you've approved them, you've said yes when other people haven't said yes, and they're ready to leave a review. Not 10 months down the road when they've had a flat tire and it's not your fault, or they ran out of gas and it's not your fault, but they want to blame you.
Yeah.
Hey, I had a flat tire, you sold me a bad tire. Ma'am, you've had that tire for 10 months, So you need to get that review right then at the sale. Let your printer run out of paper if it has to. Hopefully not, but go ahead and ask for that review right then at the sale. Do not wait. Also, another thing is, you can offer, as a thank you, I can give you account credit. You can't really exchange money for a review. That's against their policies, but you can offer, some account credit or something like that as a thank you. So if you did have some people that missed their chance to do the reviews, you could do that, at time of payment when they make their payments. You could have your receptionist ask that. I don't love that as much, but if you're coming in from behind and need reviews, that's definitely an avenue for them to do that.
For sure. No, you are full of knowledge, and I love that you're speaking the knowledge, because a lot of people don't like to spread their little tricks and knowledge, and I'm super happy to have you on, spreading knowledge to help people grow. That's amazing.
I love it. Yes, I love it.
That's awesome. So we'll start with, this is more towards the goals aspect of the companies. So we'll start with ACE first. What are some of the short-term goals for the company in the next 6 to 12? You have something super exciting. You're building a new office.
Yes.
So that is obviously one of them.
Yes, our goal is to be in a new office. We really first said Christmas, but with all the rain that Alabama has had, we are months behind. It has been a swampy spring. So we are at least a couple months behind. So now our first goal to be in the office by this time next year. So that's a little between 6 and 12 months, I guess. But we are actually, first goal of that is to add on to our shop so that we can get more cars out to sell more cars. So first goal is get the shop extension done and then the office.
That's super exciting. That's awesome. And then for Elite Marketing Group, what are some of the goals that you have for that company as well?
Of course. I'm rebranding my website. I want to get a new website that's a little bit more efficient. We're actually working on that now. And then I'm actually, call me crazy, but I'm lowering a lot of my prices. I know my dealers need the services. I know Facebook is changing daily. There's a running joke with our marketing team that's like, oh, let's see what Mark Zuckerberg changed today. And so I am lowering prices. I've hired more team members, so I'm not doing as much work. And if other dealers listen, you know that as a CEO, your pay scales are a lot higher. So if you're having to do more hands-on, unfortunately, you got to charge more. So I've added more to my team. I've added account managers. I've added some media buyers so that I can lower prices, pay a little bit cheaper to those guys instead of me having to hands-on. But they have to follow my directions. And they know that. That was one of my stipulations of hiring these people, that I want my dealers to get the same quality as if I'm doing every single click. And so that's my goal, is to finish onboarding all these new account managers so that I can drop my prices for my clients, which is huge. And then add in these bonuses of like TikTok and YouTube so that they have those free, which again, they have to pay for their ad spend, but that they have those free so that we're starting to build that base foundation on those platforms that maybe they've not ventured into yet.
That's super exciting. That's awesome. And can you just explain, because we never got into it, what do you fully do in Elite Marketing Group? We never really touched fully into that.
Sure. Well, I am fixing to write a book, and it's called Marketing First. Like if you're starting a business, especially in a big city, you really need to consult someone in marketing to talk about your branding, to talk about the word choices that you use, to talk about how you spell your business name. And I'm writing a book called Marketing First, Not Last, or Not When You Afford It. I'm still trying to decide. I want it to be marketing first. And I feel like too often marketing's put on the back burner, maybe when you don't have the money.
Yeah.
But if your sales are slow, market. You need to boom your marketing. You need to increase those ad spends and stuff if business is a little slow. So what we do is everything from logos, branding, names. I even do LLCs. I was trained and certified to do LLCs. So I'm not going to charge someone $2,000 like your attorney down the road. So I create reasonable LLCs because I want them to think about their brand, think about that logo, what that connotation is, how it spells out. What does it look like if you're just wanting to use the initials? You want to make sure it doesn't spell out like ASS, and then you can't use that ever. And I have had that happen, and then we have been on the other side of it where they spell something cool, like my Elite Marketing Group. Some of my videos spin off of Meg, MEG. And so Elite Marketing Group is EMG. So I can do some cool spins on Meg and Elite Marketing Group.
That's cool.
So it just is really honing in on marketing first for all these businesses. Our main product that I would say we sell is meta ads. It is getting more complicated and more complicated by the day. They are adding so much to that business suite that it's getting to where just the normal average person can't do it. And boosting post really doesn't get you the traffic that you want. You're going to waste so much money boosting post to everybody. You're going to boost post to the 13-year-old that has a Facebook. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just going to be a lot of wasted ad spend, where if you pay for someone to manage it, we also include graphics and all that stuff in it. So you're getting a really good marriage of graphics, which is organic, as well as meta ads. So we do meta ads. We also do Google ads for some of my a little bit higher class car dealers. So my higher class car dealers, you have people more searching for exactly what they want, not about no credit. So in my higher class car dealers, my Google ads are much better. Now they're more expensive to run. You're bidding, you're doing all kinds of stuff. So they're a little bit more expensive, not too much, but they are. Those are more for someone that's coming in, man, I want me a 2020 Chevy Tahoe that's white, this trim, beige leather. They know what they want. So my Google ads are more for those type of clients and customers and those dealers.
Cool.
You can do buy here, pay here if you have a little bit more room in Google ads, but I feel like Meta just still works so much better
For sure.
For them. So we do Meta ads, we do Google ads, I do new logos, I do websites. This is so awesome. I have a package to have my car dealers maybe think about their commitment on their marketing, where if they pay a quarterly package 3 months up front, they get a free sales machine. It's a free sales automation machine that we've personally built on like Go High Level, because Go High Level is, it's advanced, it's advanced. It's great. You could build it out yourself and save a good bit of money for your CRM. However, we're including it for free if someone will really take their marketing serious and pay every 3 quarters. We're including a free CRM, which is huge and unheard of, but it will send text, gentle text, like real people text, happy birthday, or hey, just, letting you know we're here, or have you checked out our new inventory this week? We got some stuff in that we thought you might be interested in. Just stuff like that. So it sends out automations, emails, Again, we call it our sales machine. And so they get it free if they do quarterly on my marketing packages. So that is huge.
That is super
so we
cool.
do that. Yeah. And if someone wanted that sales machine, they could pay, around $200, $250. I think I don't have anyone that ever takes it by themselves, so I have to look back. I think it's $250 a month, but it is amazing. So it's definitely a huge add-on bonus for free when they pay quarterly on the marketing.
For sure.
And like I said, we are trying to be so reasonable so these dealers don't even have to think about it,
Yeah.
It still takes a lot of time managing those ads. We make all the graphics for free when we do it. We even do the posting for free when they do our meta ads. And so
awesome.
it takes a lot more time than they realize, I feel like, to do it. So, we do have to pay for our time and our hours, but then we also don't charge extra for if they increase their ad spend. If they go from $20 a day to $200 a day, we're not going to upcharge them like a lot of companies,
Yeah.
and so that's something too. We set ourselves different. But I'm trying to think of what else that we do. Those are my main big players.
No, that's
Sometimes I just
perfect.
make one-off website links for a payment portal. I did that for
Yeah.
a dealer in Tennessee last week. We do a lot. Sometimes I just do consulting. Like I have a dealer, he's trying to learn the meta ads himself. So I even have
Yeah.
packages where I will sit down with you for an hour. You've got me on speed dial or texting, and then we will have another consultation for 30 minutes within a month. If it's outside
That's
that
cool.
month, then we may want to reevaluate what your game plan is because it could change. Meta could change.
Yeah.
And so we try to do a training, a meta ads training. One time, like I said, it's an hour, and then we have a 30-minute follow-up just to see where we're at. So that's
really
fun.
cool.
I do that sometimes for dealers, and just to see where they're at with their whole portfolio, we can
For
do
sure.
some consulting. And then I do a lot of speaking for whether it be a church that has a lot of business people and they've invited me to come, or
Yeah.
I went to South Carolina a few weeks ago. I got to invite one of my office staff to go with me so that they could see some new dealership ideas and stuff. And I don't usually charge to come speak. I just,
Yeah.
ask, you pay my expenses to get there. And if there's, anything crazy else that I would need to pay for, I just ask to take me there, and then we'll be. I don't have any kind of stage fee, they call it, or anything like that. And so a lot of my people just love that. It's like, because I love teaching. I'm so passionate about it. I'm passionate about marketing. I love helping. And I
Oh,
feel
that's
like,
awesome.
when I help people, they help me too. They may send someone my way. It's like, look, if I didn't have the staff to do it, I would have Meg do it because she knows what she's talking about. She's in the trenches. She's in the business. So I feel like when I help people, they help me in turn. I work a lot of referrals.
For sure. No, and I love how you have a lower price because I've spoke to a couple dealerships, and a lot of them say that it's not something they can afford, or it's something
Yeah.
they have to put on the back burner because they can't afford it at the moment.
Yes,
And
I
it's
agree.
nice that you're coming in at a lower price of the market and actually helping them grow and turn their business around.
Yeah, I have too. I've heard this, like, I could buy a car for that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's too expensive. You're not buying a car with us. At least not one that runs,
Yeah.
So,
But the results that they get from it are
Yes.
unreal as well,
yes, they are
especially this day and
fantastic.
age.
Yes, we use special softwares that connect to Meta too, so that we're not just relying on the options that Meta have. And a lot of people that do offer marketing services that maybe even are a little bit lower than us, because we're not going to be the cheapest, but a lot of times they will offer it lower because they're not paying for extra software to help you succeed. It's lower because they're not paying for extra software to connect to Facebook, to see your analytics, to see those people in your area that's going to be buyers, and those interest portals, all those different things. They're cheaper because you're going to get not as good results.
For sure, for sure. This question's more about the challenges. What have been the biggest challenges in the past 6 to 12, and how have you overcame them?
I feel like
Well,
the economy, just,
yeah,
those people just not being able to afford cars, afford down payments. So, something that we have been looking at to offer to beat this and battle this is offering lower down payments. We have dropped them. We've even offered a range of down payments, and that's been huge for us since February because to battle this economy. So we may take a car and have a down payment range of $500 to $1,500. And that way, if there's someone that's lived in Alabama for 30 years and they're not going anywhere and they've been on their job 10 years, they will qualify for that lower down payment. If there's someone that's a job hopper that has been in Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama, they're probably going to need more of the higher down payment because we are taking more risk. So we've had to say no, a good bit more than we have had to in the past because of that, but we're writing better deals. And those people that have had steady jobs, had steady income, have really appreciated those lower down payments because they're not having to spend every penny they have. So it's been a good trade-off. We have had to say no more, but I feel like our accounts are even better.
For sure. No, that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Looking back on your journey, what are some of the most important lessons that you've learned, and what advice would you give to younger entrepreneurs entering either the marketing space or an automotive dealer space right now?
Sure, learn. Just learn where you're at. Absorb any podcast. Absorb, always listening. If you're driving, listen. Listen to a podcast. I love that. Don't be afraid to say yes to an experience. Don't be afraid if your income's a little bit lower at somewhere that's going to give you even more experience. So definitely learn. Ask questions at wherever you're working at. See how you can help. Buy that course that's $300 and learn from it. Really, do it after hours. Don't be afraid to have 2 jobs while you're learning. I feel like that is huge for people. A lot is like, I can't really leave this job to pursue that. Well, honey, if it's important to you, you're going to do it at 12 p.m. at night. If it's important to you, a lot of people are like, oh, car dealerships, luxury, yes, it's amazing. It's been great to us, but we wouldn't have these other businesses too if we just stuck to that 9 to 5. I promise you. So you've got to be willing to put in the work if you want the rewards.
For sure. And touching on that, what advice would you give yourself when you first started out in your space?
Marketing or car dealers?
Yes, we'll touch on both.
Sure. It's never too late to start on both. Never too late to start. There's always something that you can set yourself apart from. In your dealership, why would someone want to buy from you from your neighbor? Which we don't have a neighbor, car dealers. We've kind of consumed the space. I say that, just kidding. We do have a couple small mom and pops. Sorry. But you've got to set yourself apart and never feel like it's too late to start, ever. They may give up, they may burn out. You don't have to. You might be that go-to person next, or here's the thing too, even in the car dealer world, we all know there is so many people in this world that needs cars, will have to have cars. Cars depreciate, so there's always going to be a turn for cars. It's not like a house where you're stuck with it forever, or can be stuck with it forever. Cars, they're going to need cars. I don't care if they bought brand new, they're probably going to need another one in their life.
Yeah.
And then again, marketing too is just really following anyone that you really love and feel a passion. If you don't feel a connection for them, then you need to follow someone else and learn from someone else. I used to actually not have these pinks and purples and blues in my marketing. And it used to be more like reds and silvers. I don't know if you can see that screen, because I was trying to mute my marketing and be something that was more appealing. I feel like, because there's a lot of men in this industry, but I was like, you know what? That's not me. I love pinks and purples, and I feel like branding is bold, and just be you. Make it, you and yourself, and that's when you will really stand out. And I feel like I've really took off when I have, implemented the pinks and the blues, and even my business cards, they match and have that little special. So just setting yourself apart and really, really honing in on what you want to offer if you're offering marketing services. Do you want to service car dealers, or do you want to service lawn care services? Do you want to service construction workers? Trying to really hone in on that, because that's when you're going to be the best you can be, when you know more about that. And that's when really, started taking off, because I do some construction companies, I've done some lawn maintenance companies, I've done a fence company with marketing, and I love those because it's marketing. But I really feel like my business took off when I had an aha moment that's just like, I need to not just do marketing for everyone. I need to hone in on car dealers. I am a car dealer. I know this space better than anyone on marketing, And so that's really when I just felt like it took off and it clicked. And then it sounds silly now out loud. It's like, why did you not think about that earlier, Meg? But I feel like we have those moments sometimes. You feel like you want to be able to have everybody's business instead of niching down and just doing car dealers. But I feel like when someone sees that, hey, you're specific on car dealers, they'd rather go to you because you know how you're talking to that audience, your customers, and all that. So
For sure.
definitely
No,
find your passion in the marketing field.
that's great advice. And I think a lot of people in this episode, just even not knowing much about marketing, they're gonna learn a lot from this episode.
Yeah.
And how can people find you or reach you if they want to ask you some questions? Website, socials.
Sure. Like I said, my website is going through a makeover. I do have the link tree up still. It is, elitemarketing.group. But the easiest way is just reach out by my email. My email is meg@elitemarketing.group. Or they can, text me. My phone number is all over the place. I don't mind to give out my number. I'm
Yeah.
always just a phone call away. And it's, do you want me to tell you to put it up, or do you want me to just verbally say it out loud?
Doesn't matter. You can verbally say it.
Yeah, my phone number is 256-601-9210. And that's a 1 in the front if you have to do it with your phone. But yeah, it's 256-601-9210. Everybody's like, that's almost the Beverly Hills number. So yeah, they can do that. They can see my link tree that's currently up. Like I said, I'm getting a whole new makeover myself. Sometimes it's hard to work on your business because you're all the time spinning your wheels for everybody else's business. So so we're making sure we remake that this summer before my next event.
No, that's super. And when is your next event?
I speak at Las Vegas on my birthday in June.
Ooh,
So
that's exciting.
June 21st, June 22nd, we'll be down there at a conference and speaking and enjoying the conference with other car dealers. And we're taking our kids and they can see Vegas, and it's a sight to see. So
That's super
I'm
cool.
excited.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate your time today for joining me on the podcast, Meg.
Yeah. I'm here to help.
Um,
If anybody needs anything or just to pick my brain, I'd be happy to help.
That's great. Thank you so much.